Welcome back, Officers Republics, your Coruscant Underworld Police Chief, APGAINS. Yes, I survived the vid for the third or fourth time. I can't remember how many times I've been hit with Omicrons. CG keeps updating me. I don't know what to say. But we're talking Inquisitors, everyone's least favorite topic. I feel like there was one point in SWGOH history where people's blood was boiling the most, and that's when it was Inquisitors and the Inquisitorious Datacron, because the first Datacron set. It was like the amalgamation of everything that people hate about this game mixed into one, and I'm glad we survived it, kind of. You know, the game's in a downward slope, but hopefully we can get back to the glory days. Anyway, we're talking Inquisitors. You need to farm them. Should you farm them? When should you farm them? If you should farm them. Can I farm them? Will people be mad at me? Will I get kicked from my guild if I farm them? We're going to talk about all of that. So these videos cannot be made without addressing the point that's obvious to everyone who's watched any videos on my channel, which we try to make sure we emphasize all the time, is that you guys are all at different points in the game, right? If someone's watching this and they're 1 million GP, don't farm Inquisitors. If you're at 4 million GP, follow this very specific strategy to farm the Inquisitors that I'll tell you about. And if you guys are like 7 million GP, yes, farm the Inquisitors. So, if you're early in the game, focus on your core 8, focus on your auxiliary teams, get a couple of backbones, get a GL and a GL ship under your belt. Don't worry about the Inquisitors. I think Zareth made a video about like farming Grand Inquisitor was more valuable than farming SLKR. Kind of, but we're not going to cover that. Let's say you're mid-game. You're 4, 5, maybe even 6 million GP. Oh my god, that's when you hit the end game. But let's say that you're in that, 4 to 6 million GP range. Should you start farming Inquisitors? Yeah, kind of. But do this very, very specifically, and I'll show you how. Obviously, there's 5 Inquisitors. Their gear all sucks. They're not accelerated rate. It's going to take forever to get them up. It's going to take forever to relic them, and then you have to hope and pray that the Grand Inquisitor event comes back. It just came back after 6 months, so you literally never know when the event's going to come back. I hope they put it in the Journey Guide suit. I don't know if they will, but I really hope CG does. But this is what you should do, and this is what I'm starting to do because I think it's probably a smart thing to do. Playing off of a video we had about a week ago, ships are important. Ships are very important, and a lot of people, including myself, have kind of started to schlack on ships a little bit and, chasing the bigger and bigger fish. We talked about, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but a lot of people who say they emphasize ships, including myself, have kind of lost their way. So a perfect place to start farming Inquisitors is just the second sister, right? Don't worry about the other ones. Don't worry about these 4. Don't worry about the Grand Inquisitor. Don't even have that be on your mind whatsoever. Work on second sister, getting her up to 7 stars if it fits into your other farms. Slap some, mods on her. Maybe give her some 6 dots if they're shitty 6 dots so that you can have a stronger ship. Work on her gear. Potentially hit her at relics or leave her at gear 12 or whatever. But this is a great entry point because of her ship, right? A big thing that a lot of people, including myself, have kind of slacked is that you can get immense value out of, a Chimera, really weak Empire fleet. The Interceptor is the best value of any item in the game. And it can only ride you so far, right? Up to 7 to 8 million GP, I can get away with this fleet. And even when I'm still facing 9 million GP players, I can still kind of get away with this against their third weakest fleet. But you kind of get to the point where you want that shuttle up. You want that Interceptor up. Maybe even you want that Gauntlet Starfighter up. Now, I know that's kind of going to change because the Scythe, but, we're not going to be focusing on the Grand Inquisitor for this current section of the video for those 4 to 6 million GP players. Obviously, 7 to 9 million GP players go gung-ho for this. This ship is fucking awesome, and it's going to be fantastic for you. But strictly mid-game players are concerned, it's not going to hurt. You get 1 Inquisitor up. It progresses you towards, the Grand Inquisitor, which in turn progresses you towards this. So you have at least set yourself up later down the line for something and increased your ship viability at the same time. As far as the rest of the characters are concerned, at what point should you start farming the rest of them? I'd say 2 GLs, both GL ships, core 8, most of the auxiliary teams, and a lot of the backbone teams. As long as you have all of that kind of under your belt, that should be the 5 to 6 million GP range. I think it's about time that you start progressing towards these because we don't know how Riva will be unlocked in the new TB that's theoretically going to happen at the end of the year. Now, when CG says it's happening at the end of the year, it could happen at the end of the year. Realistically, it could happen next year. It's not going to happen. I mean, I said next year, meaning like 2 years from now, but like it could happen in January, February, or it could happen in November or December, whatever. We don't know. It's going to happen in the next 4 to 5 months, I would assume. But we don't know how Riva's going to be unlocked. Like, we don't know if she's only going to be acquired like Cam or Watt if you have Grand Inquisitor, or if she's going to be acquired using the Grand Inquisitor conquest ship, right? That would be kind of a meme if you can only get Reva shards if you have the scythe, so it delays it an extra 3 to 6 months. We don't know. What we do know is she's going to be good for the Inquisitors, and theoretically she's going to have a GAC Omicron, because that's where this team slacks. This team is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. It's a gas counter. You can beat some GLs with certain datacrons. It's an all-around fantastic team that I think has gotten a bad rap, and I think it's just gotten a bad rap because, you know, that 6 to 7 month time period where they came out, everything was slow. CG was down so many devs due to tragic circumstances, and the company was just shitting the bed, and everything was bad. And I think we kind of carry over that sad and disheartened sentiment of that period of Galaxy of Heroes and kind of manifest it onto these characters. But I think since it's been over a year, or not over a year, but it's, you know, it's approaching the point where it's been long enough. I think the veil is kind of pulled back, and I think these characters are not terrible. The team as a whole with the Grand Inquisitor is very good. Very good in GAC, amazing in TW. I'm assuming they're going to become amazing in TW once Reva, or GAC once Reva comes. Now, God forbid Reva is a TW or a TB Omicron. If Reva, I mean, that would be the most Inquisitor, most Datacron, most Capital Games, most EA thing of all time, right? Every single one of these characters has an Omicron ability on their leadership. Every single one of them. Grand Inquisitor has 3 Omicrons, right? If they had Reva, and Reva has a leadership Omicron for TW that isn't better than the Grand Inquisitor, I think I would cash out all of my very meager assets. I'd sell my car. I'd sell myself into sexual slavery, and I'd put all of my money in Capital Games stock, because that would be so fucking funny, dude. Oh my goodness, that would actually be hilarious. But no, I think most of us believe that she's going to be a GAC Omicron. So there is no real reason to fret about her TB or TW Omicron-ness. But I think with this team and Grand Inquisitor already being really good in the game, it's obviously been a focal point. I think adding, you know, slowly, if you're mid 4 to 6 million GP, add the second sister, you know, improve that Empire fleet a little bit. You know, maybe add Darth Lizzo, right? Maybe progress to the other ones, work on some shards, get them to gear 8, gear 9, get that first tier of the assault battle done. Maybe it helps get a couple extra burritos when their feats come around. But, you know, if you have your 2 GLs, your 2 GL ships, your core 8, your auxiliary teams, and your backbone teams, I think it's fair enough to say that the Inquisitors are an important enough part of the game to where it is totally viable to put a lot of your resources into this team. All right. Now, quick, I'll give you 5 seconds. This is a spoiler for Tales of the Jedi. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, spoiler time. I really hate that Ahsoka killed that Inquisitor so quickly, because, man, how fucking awesome would it be to have that super, like, bird, Raven's mask Inquisitor in the game. I don't know if he has a name or what, or a backstory, or if we'll ever see him again. But that dude looked awesome, and I would love that man in Galaxy of Heroes. But alas, he died too quickly, so whatever. All right. As always, I love you. Subscribe, and I'll see you later.